Hey guys, happy Saturday again. It's Joe and it's time for another Puck-It with Joe. For today, we went over those early 4 games and I sure as hell hope you guys are cashed with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres. Both teams to score in that first period, hitting so beautifully nice. Both of those teams getting a goal. And I also really hope you took the under in the Islanders game in that first period. Under 1.5 was coming in around minus 102 in there. And so we cashed on that. As this game is in the second period, we have a scoreless game so far, 0-0 between the Islanders. And then we have the intermission right now between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres. That one is sitting 1-1 apiece. Like both teams scored, got us at positive plus money. And the New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, they are scoreless at the moment. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, you guys. This is one that I am riding the under for the game. I just want to see if there's any opportunities for us to live bet these games right now. The Islanders minus 188 on the money line, so I'm not liking that there. We have a total of 3.5, hitting it to the overs plus 124. Not feeling too confident in that. We know the Islanders can open up at any point, but we are seeing some strong defense right now out of the Red Wings. The total is still sitting at 6.5 between the Lightning and the Sabres, and I think it goes over, but juiced right now to minus 164. So in the next couple of minutes when this second period kicks off, if we see that first 5 minutes go scoreless, we might see that total drop in juice. So look and keep watching for that. The total between the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins, super interesting here. If you did like the under before, now it's another opportunity to hit this over. So we got the game at pregame under 6. If you think this is a 5-goal game, I think this could be 2-2 a piece. You could hit it. If you've already hit the under 6, you could hit the over 4.5 at minus 128 and kind of hedge out there. So just a little note for that if you guys are looking to do that. But definitely a great game going on in New York. I think I'm going to stick with that under. I do like my under 6 position at the moment. Like I said, we're just finishing up the first period between those two. That one's still scoreless. So let's make some freaking money. You are right. So you guys, let's get on to the next set of games. So we went over the first 4. If you missed my breakdown on Colorado, you still have time to get in your bet on the Colorado Avalanche here over the Dallas Stars that I gave out earlier today. I do like this one to the under 6 as well. I think we're just going to see Colorado come in too strong. We know that winning streak did get broken by the New Jersey Devils. We expected that to come. Look for the Avs to get back into winning form in this game today. Cale Makar is back in the lineup. If you can take his block shots on goal on your book, definitely take it to the over. We know the Dallas Stars will be bringing everything they have. This is a battle of the Central, Dallas sitting first, but I do think at the end of the day, we'll see Colorado move up to that first place spot in the Central, and we've got an under 6 in this one. So getting on to these later games, kicking off at 6 o'clock Eastern, we have the Washington Capitals taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks are absolutely terrible at home. They've lost their last 4 games. So we're not going to really overcomplicate this one. We got the Washington Capitals rolling in at minus 144. They should be a bigger favorite. But this team has been struggling to score as of late. They're sitting 6th in the Metro, but Darcy Kemper is expected in goal. Now, remember, Darcy Kemper is a solid goalie. I don't think the Sharks are going to come out flying on him, be able to find the back of his net. Plus, his team is only averaging 29.9 shots on goal per game. So look for this to be a game the Washington Capitals can win on the money line. I just want to see if there's any movement. I still can't believe they're only minus 144 on that money line. I could see this being one that they do cover that puck line, but then we have to expect the goals out of them, which is hard to ask out of this team right now. Neither team has been scoring as of late. So give me the under 6.5. I actually am shocked it moved up from a 6 to 6.5 here. Now, the last time these teams played, we did see the Sharks get the win. It was a 4-1 win for the San Jose Sharks, and that was back in mid-February, so not that long ago. But I do think the Capitals really can dig deep and get the win. Mike, thank you so much for being back here. I really hope you cashed with me this morning. So let's get on to the rest of these games. So you guys, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers, a 6 o'clock Eastern matchup as well. Tristan Jarry expected here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Florida Panthers expected to start Bobrovsky. Now, total of 6.5, and rightly so. We've seen the Florida Panthers actually limited and contained by the Nashville Predators in that last game, a game that they should have won. This team is sitting sixth in the Atlantic. They cannot afford to lose these games, but the Pittsburgh Penguins have been rolling so phenomenally hot at the moment. They've won their last 4 games. They got the overtime win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. I never expected them to be able to win in OT versus the Lightning. It was a 5-4 game, and this is the last game of a road trip that is going positive. I do think we have another situation where both teams can score in that first period. Let's just look at what we're getting. I'm hopefully getting some nicer plus money than we got in the last one. But I do think after being limited in the last game, the Florida Panthers will come out nice and strong, get that goal, and like I said, the Penguins rolling hot. So both teams to score in the first period is coming in at plus 138. Plus 136. And I think that is a fantastic way to go. Both of these teams are able to find the back of the net. Now, looking at that first period, over on goals, 1.5, it's juiced at minus 168. But if you want to parlay that somewhere else, I don't hate that either. I just cannot bet it straight up. It's just a little bit too much juice. Jarry and Bobrovsky are outstanding goalies. But I do think the offensive production out of both of these teams, what we've seen out of the Panthers or Florida Panthers here, how they were limited in their last game, I think we see them open up. Just like we saw the Buffalo Sabres really open up in the first period. So far today, I think we see the same thing out of the Panthers. So give me both teams to score at plus 136. And I'm going to take a chance on the Penguins. This team is rolling so hot right now at plus 110. I love the value. I don't like the value on the Panthers here. Yes, they need this win. Yes, they desperately need this win. But this team isn't getting these wins. They lost that last one. I can't count on them here against a team that is rolling so incredibly hot. I'm going to cash on that over as well, over 6.5. I think we got another high scoring one between these two. I'd probably look at the Penguins team total, see what you can get for that. And let's just see what the Penguins team total is in this one. I'm really hoping both teams are not at 3.5. Yeah, both teams are at 3.5. If you like the Penguins over 3.5, it is plus 136. If you like the Panthers over 3.5, that's plus 112. I do think this is a 4-3 style game. So I think the best bet is just take both teams to score in that first period. Parlay the over 1.5 in the first period as well. DK has it at 6 still. You gotta love that. You guys make sure you shop these lines. I try to give you the lines on FanDuel because they seem to be pretty on par with most other books. Yeah, I love them to come in here and keep rolling hot. It would be phenomenal to see. I love what we're seeing out of them right now. You can also look at Tristan Jarry's. He's probably still going to get some nice save shots on goal in this one. And Bobrovsky, both of these teams able to light up the net, but the Florida Panthers really lighting up the net. So we're going to need Tristan Jarry to stand on his head. Florida's going to be frustrated off of that loss. Now, at 7 o'clock Eastern, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Matt Murray is back in goal tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Demko is coming out for Vancouver. Now, when we look at the Maple Leafs, they got that win over Calgary. It was a 2-1 win. The Devils on deck on Tuesday. So far enough out, this isn't a look-ahead spot because we know Vancouver has been struggling on both sides of the pot. Toronto's on the road right now. They need to pick up another win, and I think they do here. They're sitting second in the Atlantic. I think they have a big win in this one. You could look at them in regulation if you're a little worried here, but I think you can take them to cover that puck line at minus 1.5 at plus 115. I don't see Vancouver being able to sustain what we've seen out of them, especially like we saw out of them versus the Wild. This defense really stepping up. Demko playing a fantastic game, that being a 2-1 loss to the Minnesota Wild, but only allowing 2 goals by the Wild. We had great production out of their defense. I don't see it continuing here, you guys. I think the Leafs come in and steamroll over Vancouver today. I do like this under, though, which is kind of scary when I like that puck line. I think the under comes in and hits nicely. I think this is a Leafs game all day long, and the Canucks struggle to score. The Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets, you guys, I gave you a look ahead on this one yesterday. I was riding the Winnipeg Jets last night, hoping that they would get the win. I do not think Winnipeg can travel to Edmonton, then travel back to Winnipeg and play Edmonton again when they had Connor Hellebuck started in goal last night. He got pulled. Edmonton just steamrolled them. They got a dominating 6-3 win. I don't see Winnipeg being able to bounce back, get that sudden revenge. I think this is Edmonton's game to dominate again, and I'm going to take them at -138 there on the money line. We got a total of 7 in this one. I could see Edmonton going over their team total. I'm not even going to count on Winnipeg to get anything done in this game. They did score 3 goals, and it is Jack Campbell in net for the Edmonton Oilers. But I tell you what we're seeing out of Connor McDavid. He is dropping back. He's playing both ends of the puck. I'm loving what we're seeing out of him at the moment, and he is rolling so confident and hot. I don't want to back Winnipeg in any facet with this travel that they've done over the last couple days. Jets are completely done. And yeah, Panthers, inconsistent. That is for sure. You've got the Avs, the Islanders, the Bruins, the Penguins, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I wish you all the best. I really hope that you cash nicely today, you guys. I really appreciate you guys being here too. Second show of the day. Let's look at the Columbus Blue Jackets, Ottawa Senators. Now, excuse me for not remembering who threw it out earlier. The Ottawa Senators team total over 2.5. I think is absolutely money today. I think that line has moved to 3.5. Let me just double check that, but someone threw that out this morning. So if it was you, I think it's a beautiful play there. Let me just look at what that is coming in at. The Senators, yeah, over 3.5 now is -158. I think it's a wonderful way to go. Columbus, you can get their team total under 2.5 at -128. And I think that is another way to go with this game. The Columbus Blue Jackets really coming in here struggling. Now, Hutchinson is starting in net for them tonight. Now, he had a 2.77 goals against average in the AHL. He was with Vegas. He was part of all of the trade stuff going down. We didn't see him ever play for Vegas. So he's the goalie behind Elvis. The goalie behind Elvis, you guys. Let that sink in. You guys know my thoughts on Elvis. Elvis has had too many days in the sun. He is ready to hang up his skates, in my opinion. We know that he has played some incredible hockey, and he can turn it on for a game or two. This is not the game that we're going to see Elvis turn on. Well, he's not even in net. We got Hutchinson in net, but Cam Talbot here, such a strong goalie. He's had a couple of struggles since coming back from injury, but I do think this is one where we can see him have a solid game and limit the Columbus Blue Jackets' ability to get these goals. Now, the Senators have been rolling hot. They won their last 4 games. They got that 5-3 win over the New York Rangers, something I didn't think this Ottawa Senators team could do. But they're sitting 5th in the Atlantic, and they're digging so deep. The last time they played the Columbus Blue Jackets, they got the shutout win in January, 4-0. I like them tonight on the puck line, -1.5 at -125. I like their team total over as well, over 3.5, -158. I wouldn't count on Columbus for anything. They did get 2 goals last night versus the Kraken, but they're on a back-to-back here, you guys. I can't trust them even to add to this total for us. Yes, Johnny Gaudreau is going to be digging deep. These players really wanting to play for some pride here on the season, sitting 8th in the Metro. But with a goalie from the AHL brought up and then transferred over from Vegas, I don't see this one going well for Columbus. Who do I like scoring for Ottawa? We'll get back to that. I think you've got a couple of options with the Sens. When I look at who I like to get these goals, I love to look at players versus goalies. So the hard thing is here, we've got an unknown goalie, but you could look at, well, the number one, Brady Tkachuk. His shots on goal over 3.5 is -130 or -128 tonight. So you could definitely look at him. Looking at him for that anytime goal, he's coming in at +148, and he has been pretty reliable for us here to get those anytime goals. But what I end up doing, you guys, is I end up looking at versus teams and to see what they can do against those teams. So when we look at Brady Tkachuk versus the Columbus Blue Jackets in the last game versus them, he did get an assist and a point. So looking at his points and assists tonight might be something to look at as well. Let's just see his points tonight for Brady Tkachuk. Brady Tkachuk points over a half, minus 122. So you'd have to buy that up and see what you can get for that. But we'll get back to some more player props, you guys. Throwing hands. Oh my God, I wish I don't have the game on. Ottawa has the same amount of goals as the Bruins since January 26. Yeah, they've been flying. They've been getting these goals. So looking at that team total over 3.5 at minus 158, I believe I said it was sitting at. I would even feel confident taking it up to 4, extending that line, taking 4+ goals. The worst you're going to do is push. Okay, the Bruins up 1-0 after 1. I like that. Keep it low scoring, Bruins. Let's go. Okay, so we didn't get to the Nashville Predators, did we? Let's talk the Nashville Predators and the Chicago Blackhawks. Saros and Marzette expected in goal for these teams. Now, the Nashville Predators coming in here after that win to the Florida Panthers, or over the Florida Panthers, which was really impressive to see. Now, they are coming in. I'm just trying to find the odds on this one. This is a game I'm not too excited for, you guys. I don't know if you can tell. Okay, so we have the Preds coming in here at minus 240 plus 195 here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Total sitting at a very low 5.5, but this is one where I do not see the Chicago Blackhawks scoring in. I'm looking at taking the Chicago Blackhawks team total. I'm just pulling that up to see what it is. I don't have a bet in on this game yet, but that's where I was going to bet it if I can find their team total here. Chicago's team total under 2.5 at minus 138. I don't think it's too juicy. I think that is a nice way to go. Under 2.5 at 138 over on FanDuel, you guys. They're going to struggle to score in this one. Saros can contain these pucks, and he has been a solid goalie over the season. When we look at the Nashville Predators, they are allowing these shots to come in, but only averaging an allowed 2.95 goals per game. When we look at the Chicago Blackhawks, this team has lost their last 3 games. They're only averaging that 2.46 goals per game and 26.9 shots on goal. They're not going to have the opportunity to get these goals today. So under 2.5 here. I think the Preds in regulation is another way I would go with this one. Preds in 60, absolutely. You're getting it at minus 140. It's sitting right around that number. So you guys look at taking that, make it nice and easy. You have to look at the Blackhawks, and they were averaging 2.46 goals per game, but guess who they had there, right? They had Patrick Kane, and now Patrick Kane is gone. Who's going to score the goals for the Blackhawks? I could see them getting Saros getting the shutout today. Actually, that's a really interesting way to look at this. Goalie props here. See, Saros is not confirmed, so we cannot even look at him for the shutout. But if it is Saros confirmed later in the day, I would be looking at Saros to get the shutout versus the Chicago Blackhawks. So something to keep in mind, you guys. We've got 2 more games to go over. You guys know I do not want to talk about my Calgary Flames today, but we have to. Well, they did get us that first period win in the last game. Calgary has just been absolutely struggling, you guys. They're trying to find, I think, kind of their identity, if they're offensive team or defensive team. I know Daryl Sutter really wants them to play a defensive team. I really do think Daryl Sutter, while he is a good coach, he's an old school coach, and these players they're not reacting well to an old school coach. Now, there was a lot of changes with Calgary in the offseason, so maybe this team just needs a little bit more time to mesh. We've seen struggles out of Markstrom, but what we saw out of him in that last game versus the Toronto Maple Leafs, he easily went over his save shots on goal, cashed his money in that one. I didn't realize his wife was pregnant, and I said that to you the last show. I think there might have been some outward stress with that. So I think we're going to see a Jacob Markstrom that is playing better hockey. Yes, he has a screaming baby at home, but he knows his wife and his baby are safe. So I do think this is a prime opportunity to look at the under in this game. I know it is so low, you guys, at 5.5, but we look at the Minnesota Wild. They're just dominating defensively. They're only allowing that 2.66 goals per game and 30 shots on goal. And Calgary, phenomenal to not allow these shots. They're sitting second in the league, only allowing 27 shots on goal. Daryl Sutter wants his team to be like the Minnesota Wild. He wants them to be a defensive team. The problem with Calgary is it seems like they can only win games if it's a higher scoring one. They've been in some situations where it is a lower scoring one. I do think this one is Calgary's, not Calgary's game to win. It could be Calgary's game to win. We look at this, and the Wild have lost 5 of the last 6 meetings versus Calgary. The home team's gone 4-1 in the last 5. Calgary's coming in as a small favorite, and you got to question why. Calgary's coming in as the favorite. These teams play again on Tuesday in Minnesota. Now, Minnesota has no games in between this. They go home. They get ready for Calgary. Calgary does play a game. They have the Stars on deck on Monday, and then they have Minnesota on Tuesday. I can make a case here for Calgary getting the win and then Minnesota getting that win at home. But the problem here is they're wanting us to pay minus 156 here on the money line for the Calgary Flames to get this win. Could we take them in regulation? Absolutely. Could this game be a 1-1 going into overtime? Absolutely. I'm not comfortable in taking the Flames at this price we're getting. I would have to put my money on the Minnesota Wild, and I don't know if they get this win today. So I'm staying off the side, you guys. I'm going to hit the under 5.5. I'm going to look at that first period, under 1.5 as well. And I'm just going to pull up those odds in the first period, under 1.5. The last game, Calgary versus Toronto, what we saw to Jacob Markstrom was fantastic. Like I said, you guys, Calgary walked away with the first period win. It was 1-0. In that first period. So the under 1.5 in the first period between these two is a minus 118. And we know how phenomenally strong the Wild have been at holding opponents to the under. They're one of the best defensive teams in the whole league. In the last 3 games, I believe they've only given up 4 goals in the last 3 games. Gustafsson expected here. I'm going to look at both of these goalies save shots on goal as well, you guys, and I want to see if either are confirmed. Jacob Markstrom coming in here at over 24.5 save shots on goal at plus 100. Now we know the Wild still get these shots at 31.3. Calgary only allowing 27. Jacob Markstrom, we're going to ride him, or at least I'm riding him again over 24.5 save shots on goal at plus 100. I absolutely love it there. Shout out to Sam. Sam, nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us here on Pocket with Joe. You're riding the Wild on the money line and the under 6.5. I don't blame you. You're getting the best value on the Minnesota Wild. This line should not be where it's sitting at, in my opinion. I know the Wild have struggled versus Calgary, but I do think this is one where Calgary could get the win, but I'm not paying that value. When it's kind of a coin flip here for these two teams, a little bit of puck luck, both strong defenses, I got to hit the under. And if I had to pick a side, I'd want the value with the Minnesota Wild. You took the Wild last night on the money line for plus 165. Flames are terrible. I know, Benji, the Flames are playing absolutely terrible. Let's go. You guys, no K, no Dom. You're right. Minus 140 was that other line. Okay, so that's where we're going with that. Look at the under. Look at both of these goalies, save shots on goal. Gustafsson is still listed as expected. We don't have confirmation, so I'm not able to pull up a line for you. But look what Calgary was able to do versus Toronto. Toronto came firing in that one. Jacob Markstrom stood on his head. The Wild, defensive team. This team is only averaging that 2.77 goals per game. So if Calgary is to win this, it goes highly over this total. I don't see it happening. I think we've got a 2-1 game. Could see this one going to OT. The St. Louis Blues and the LA Kings. Copley expected here for the Kings and Jordan Binnington expected for the St. Louis Blues. Now, the last game, the St. Louis Blues versus the Sharks, I really did expect Jordan Binnington to go in. Jordan Binnington didn't. And then the minute I found out it wasn't Jordan Binnington, I was like, Blues are going to lose. Jordan Binnington's the only person I trust on the St. Louis Blues at the moment. But they got the win over the Sharks 6-3. The Sharks just absolutely terrible at home. So it's not surprising that the Blues were able to pull things off. But looking at their roster, it's like, who do we even know that plays for St. Louis anymore? The LA Kings come in here. Copley expected. They're over a $2 favorite in this one. We got a total of 6.5. And now we know the Kings have been opening up offensively, but they have been allowing some goals to come in. That's making them trend to the over in these games because they are giving them up. The Kings won the last matchup back in October 5-1. And I could see a very similar style game here. I can't trust this Blues team. They're 1-6 in their last 7 overall. Could they cover this puck line? Absolutely. They are 14-16 on the road on the puck line, but I don't trust them. I don't know anyone on this team anymore. It's like all their strong players are gone. This is a rebuild team. The LA Kings are sitting second in the Pacific. They need to pick up every win they want if they want to get past Vegas. And I think what we've seen out of the Kings, their fans are really upset with them. They're going to be at home. Their fans are upset with how they treated Jonathan Quick. Now, Jonathan Quick, franchised player, been with them since I believe it was 2005. Correct me if I'm wrong. It could have been 2004. He's been with the LA Kings forever. They trade him off to Columbus. Okay. And then Columbus does the jerky move and trades him to Vegas. This is going to come back and haunt the Kings. Trust me. Jonathan Quick, well, I've given him a really hard time and I didn't trust him with the LA Kings. You can trust Jonathan Quick behind a stronger defense. The Kings defense is limiting opponents' shots on goal to 28.3. They're still giving up that 3.37. Behind Vegas's defense, it gives their goaltending more support. We're going to see better nights out of Jonathan Quick. Now, he's not going to be their prime goalie. He will be behind Adin Hill. Adin Hill, who had an absolutely incredible night last night. He is really stepping up into this role. We know Logan Thompson is out at the moment. So they needed to get Jonathan Quick in here to help them along the way. But we're going to see that support of the defense. We didn't see the support of the defense with the LA Kings. They just don't give it. Still, though, holding opponents to 28.3, but I don't trust this Kings defense. So that's just a look ahead for Vegas with Quick. That's my thoughts on him. Sorry, I went off on a tangent because I really do have a faith in Jonathan Quick. You guys know that I did. Okay, Buffalo and Tampa throwing a lot of punches. Man, I wish I was watching this game. People that don't watch hockey don't realize that, there's fighting in hockey. Always shocks me because I always hear that. Someone will watch a game and they'll be like, oh my God, how are they just allowed to punch each other like that? It's really funny. Good morning, Neil. Happy Saturday to you. So in this one, give me the Kings in regulation at -138. I'm going to take the over 6.5. I'd look at the Kings laying the 1.5 on the puck line. That did screw me in the last game versus Montreal. They should have come out, got a huge win. They got only a 3-2 win over them. They got the Capitals on deck on Monday. They got a day in between, so I'm not too worried about that. St. Louis, just not a solid team. You guys, that's all the games for today. Let's just take a look at what is happening. I wish that I could see that game right now. I normally have a TV in my studio, but I kind of moved it for a little bit of sunlight today. So I put it down on the ground and I'm dreading the fact that I did. Okay. Detroit just scored. Damn it, Detroit. I tell ya. And damn it, Islanders. What the heck are they doing? Did anyone grab the Bruins and the Rangers over 4.5 in that live bet? Let us know. It's sitting 1-0 for the Boston Bruins going into the second. Okay. 1-0 going into the third. 1-0 going into the third for the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders. You guys, I hope you got the under in that game. We have the Buffalo Sabres up 2-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, this is an interesting live bet here. And I was talking with Dave Sharapan, actually, and he brought this up on one of the Sports Grid shows. The opportunity for these teams to come back, looking at Tampa, looking at their value. Now the lines are locked over on FanDuel. Someone might have scored a goal or something is happening. It is a 2-1 game for the Buffalo Sabres, I'm seeing, with 7 minutes left. So looking at the Lightning, what value we're getting on them, because we know they came in here as the favorite. Just keeping your eye on stuff like that. Now, if you have faith in the Islanders to come back, you guys, you grab them plus 190 here on the money line. That was my original bet going into this, that the Islanders could get the win here. So I don't mind them at plus 190. I think I didn't see that goal go in, but from what I would expect, the Islanders probably shouldn't have let that goal go in, and we could see them coming back. I could see this one going to overtime. So Buffalo just scored. Okay, Buffalo scored. So this is a 3-1 game for the Buffalo Sabres. Looking at the Tampa Bay Lightning, I expected this game to go over. We're in the second period. You can grab the Lightning right now on that money line at plus 350. Grabbing them at plus 1.5 on that puck line at plus 116, I think is the best bet. This game is not going to be lost by the Lightning by more than a goal. If they lose this game, I think it's a 1-goal loss here. I'm not watching the game, though, you guys. Normally, I have the game up when I'm calling out these lines, but at plus 360, and like I said, we were talking with Dave Sharapan on the Sports Grid, taking that team that is down on that puck line or to come back and get the win when they're down a couple goals like this has hit 42.5 or 45.2% of the time. So I think the Lightning are a prime opportunity to jump in on that puck line, you guys. For sure, the puck line, I think it's a great way to go. Right now, I'm going to sprinkle on that money line. Okay, I love plus 3. You guys know I'm a sucker for frickin' plus money. Okay, so the Bruins are up 2-0 over the New York Rangers. Thanks for that update there. It is the start of the second period here. So the Bruins came out and scored hard and fast. Again, Detroit up 1-0 over the Islanders, and Buffalo up 3-1 over the Lightning. Grab the Lightning right now if you're watching this live on that puck line. Plus 1.5 at plus 122. Total of 7.5. Plus 128 to the over if you think there's going to be 8 goals in this. So let's just recap these night games for you guys, and then I got to get going. I got to wake up the children in my house. They cannot believe it is noon here. So I'm not hearing any movement upstairs. But Colorado and Dallas kicks off at 3:30 Eastern. If you guys missed earlier, I did give out the abs on that money line. I think they come out nice and big in this one. I'd look at Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon for the points tonight, and I think this one stays under that total of 6. The Washington Capitals and the San Jose Sharks. Give me the Caps on the money line, so let's build a parlay with this right now. Caps money line. I think Darcy Kemper has a solid night. San Jose Sharks are terrible at home. Give me the under 6.5, 2 in this one, because I don't see the Sharks having much success. Both these teams have struggled to score as well. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers. I love both teams to score in the first period in this one. We're getting beautiful plus money at plus 136, I believe it is at, for both teams to score. Pavelski and Jari, still outstanding goalies, but we know these goals can slip early and fast with top goalies and top offenses. So give me the over 1.5 for a parlay. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Panthers over 1.5 in the parlay in the first period, but it's too juiced to bet straight up. I think it's a parlay piece only, but if you want to pay minus 160, go ahead and bet that one a straight up. But I do think both teams to score with the plus money is one of the best bets of the day, you guys. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Vancouver Canucks. I think the Leafs get a nice win. I'm going to throw the Leafs just on the money line because it's a parlay, but I do think they cover that puck line minus 1.5 at plus 115. I would look at the Vancouver Canucks team total under. The Leafs could really open up in this one. So I'm kind of hesitant on that under 6.5, but if I had to take the full game, I'd look at that under. But I'd look at the Canucks team total under first. The Edmonton Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets, They need this season to be over, and they need it to be over right away. This team is struggling way too much for me to put my money on, especially when they got dominated by Edmonton last night. They had to travel from Winnipeg to Edmonton and then back home to Winnipeg and face the same team that just destroyed them last night. Edmonton has been at home. This is their first game out on the road. They're going to come in. They're going to be able to get this win. So Edmonton tonight, in regulation, is one of my favorite bets of the night, and I cannot believe I'm putting my money on Edmonton. Give me Connor McDavid for that anytime goal. David Reach is in goal, who had to come out last night to fill in for Connor Hellebuck because he was doing absolutely terrible, but he didn't do much better. So Connor McDavid for the anytime goal. Edmonton here for the win. I'll throw Edmonton in the parlay as well. Columbus and Ottawa. Give me the Sens in regulation for the parlay. Just bring that juice down. I don't like juice at 300. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I think that they are absolutely going to struggle here. Look at the Senators team total to go over as well, you guys. I think the Senators have a big night in this one. Like we talked about, this team is scoring goal after goal after goal. And I would look at their team total to the over at minus 156, buy it up to even 4, get some more value there. Before I looked at this full game over. Columbus, I don't know how much I trust. Cam Talbot is starting to really warm up again in his games. We saw him struggle when he first came back in those first couple of periods, but I do think we see a strong performance out of Cam Talbot tonight. The Nashville Predators and the Chicago Blackhawks. Look at the Chicago Blackhawks team total to that under, you guys. I think they completely struggle in this one. I do think if we see Saros in goal, we could see a shutout here for the Nashville Predators. They got the win over the Panthers 2-1. I would look at the Preds in regulation, and that's what I'm going to throw into the parlay. I think they come out nice and strong. I would also look at them on that puck line, minus 1.5 at plus 110. If we get Saros confirmed, which I'm just checking one more time to see if we can get Saros confirmed before we leave here, I do think if we got good enough odds for him to get the shutout, I would look at him being able to get the shutout tonight. Saros is confirmed in goal. So his save shots on goal is 25.5, and that's, I don't want to take it because the Chicago Blackhawks, we look at the Chicago Blackhawks, they're only averaging 26.9 shots on goal per game. And that was with Patrick Kane with this team. This team is going to absolutely struggle to get these shots, even though the Predators allow it. I think it's better to look at Saros for the shutout. And it's just a sprinkle, you guys. It's plus 960 for Saros to get the shutout tonight. And you guys know that plus money looks too freaking good not to take. The last two games, we're going to look at the Minnesota Wild and the Calgary Flames. Give me the under 5.5 in this one. Give me the under 1.5 in that first period as well. I can see Calgary getting the win and then the Wild getting the win back in Minnesota on Tuesday. Calgary has a game in between, so they will be on a back-to-back when they play the Wild on Tuesday. I just can't trust Calgary at this price we're having to pay here. Minus 156, I want nothing to do with Calgary. All the values on the Wild. The Wild have struggled versus Calgary, which if they struggle in this game will be the biggest question mark. The under 5.5 is my favorite bet of this game. The under 1.5 in the first period, I think, is phenomenal too. The St. Louis Blues and the LA Kings, I'm not going to complicate it. Give me the Kings in regulation for the parlay. Also, give me the Kings in the first period. Give me the Kings over, or the Kings team total over. And I lean on the over 6.5 for the full game because we know the Blues probably put up one goal. But you guys, it's going to be a fantastic day on the ice. That long shot parlay for the late games. The Capitals, there's more fighting happening. You guys are killing me. I'm going to have to watch the highlights of all of these fights. The long shot parlay. The Capitals on the money line. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Florida Panthers first period over 1.5. The Leafs on the money line. Edmonton on the money line. The Sens in regulation. The Preds in regulation. The Flames and the Wild under 5.5. And the Kings in regulation. It's going to be a great night on the ice. Kings and Wild That would be a nice parlay there. I wish everyone all the best. It takes a while tonight. I really can see them getting the win. Just a little hesitant on it because they have struggled versus Calgary. We know some of these teams play some of these teams, and it doesn't make sense. Calgary sucks at the moment, absolutely, but they had a really strong game versus the Leafs. I really like what I've seen out of Jacob Markstrom. Like I said, Jacob Markstrom for over his save shots on goal, I think is a phenomenal way to take this game tonight. Neil going to parlay the Kings on the money line and the team total over and the Sens on the money line and team total over. I love it. They're not Deadmonton anymore. They're steamrolling. I know. What can we call Deadmonton? They were dead to us at one point. Now it looks like everyone's getting these goals. They picked up a new defensive player. Should we just call them? I don't know. We still get to call them Deadmonton. Conman McDavid will deliver. Conman. That's what I call my son, so it kind of threw me for a second. Deadmonton, yeah. It's going to be a great one. You hear no movement upstairs because they snuck out. They better not have snuck out of the house. They will be in trouble. Tampa game over. I do like that one over. What are we seeing right now with the live updated game? These teams are fighting both good on the power play. 3-1 right now. Who's starting these fights? Who's getting the penalties is my biggest question here. Is Tampa getting really heated under the collar in this one? We know Tampa. Once they start to get heated, it is a scary situation. That line has jumped to +2.5 now for the Lightning at -164. So we're not getting the value there. But it is a good game for sure. I can't wait to put it on. You guys, I gave you that long shot parlay. I think I've answered all your questions, just looking over them right now. Of course, Braden Point, thank you so much for telling me Braden Point got the goal. He absolutely has been an ATM machine for us. So Braden Point for the point. That's what we've always got to go with. You guys, let's go. Let's make some money. The Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, both teams to score in that first period. Sweet James Jones. I like the name. Okay, so the Florida Panthers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. First period, over 1.5, I like, but there's no value outside of the parlay. Both teams to score in that first period. Best bet. Calgary and the Wild, under 5.5. I think that's phenomenal. Jacob Markstrom over his saved shots as well. Another best bet. We're riding him right now, you guys. He is playing with fire. The Edmonton Oilers on the money line, I think, is another best bet there. So, and the Capitals on the money line. Capitals need that win way too bad. So that's where I'm going. You guys, I have a lot of anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety today, Groovy Caps. I've got 7 plays in college basketball plus, well, 7 plays is a lie. I have 9 plays in college basketball. I have 2 in the NBA, and I've got 4 plays on the ice. My heart is going to explode today. So you guys, the Caps line is fishy. I know, versus the Sharks. The Sharks cannot be trusted. They are so damn bad at home. Look at that game to stay under the total. Both of these teams absolutely struggling to score. If you don't like the Capitals, just coming in at -144. So it is a tricky game for sure. They got the Kings on deck. The Sharks did win the last game, 4-1 over the Capitals. So you guys, that's where I'm going. I got to get the heck out of Dodge. I've got to go. I got to watch these games, but I appreciate, like I said, each and every one of you for joining me here every day. The Rangers are on deck. You guys slow down that scoring there. I do not need any more goals. We've got 12 minutes left in that second period. Anyone who jumped on the over 4.5 for the Rangers and the Bruins when that was scoreless must be feeling pretty good, because we are now 1 goal away from going over that total. Or no, we're 2 goals away for going over that total. So you guys have a good one. We'll talk later. Bye now.